Hello, my name's Matt Cameron. Today we're running another Tracardi community office hours, and the agenda for today is consent management. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive into consent management. We're going to have a look at some of the questions that have been on the Slack group over the last week, and just some announcements. Some announcements that are worth noting. And we'll have a discussion around next week's topic as well. Today, Risto is presenting, and Risto is the founder and the community lead of Tracardi. He's presenting on how to do consent management. Why are we doing consent management? What's the deal with it? I think in a word, the most important thing about consent management is it's about building trust. And besides all the legals and everything else, that it's really important. Making sure that we're building trust really is fundamental in establishing sustainable relationship that we can have with our customers and our audience.
So today I would like to briefly discuss about the consents in Tracardi, how you can add consents to Tracardi, how you can display the built-in consent bar that allows the customer just to say what he allows us to do or what he does not, and also show you how the consent was granted, because we don't want this consent bar to be time. And also some things how to build a custom consent widget. I will just show you the repository. Some of you are ReactJS developers. You can build your own consent widget. And also we'll talk about how to use the built-in events for managing consents and where the consents are stored. So we'll do a live demo of the consents in Tracardi. So if you have like questions, free to interrupt, and I will answer those questions. And we can also talk about it after the presentation. Now I will share Tracardi. I have prepared an instance of Tracardi, some demo data. So if you would like to do the same things I do, there is an event environment called demo. If you set it to yes, your instance will be filled with some demo data, and also under URL localhost 8686 demo, you will have like it with Tracardi connected to it. So it's much easier to present Tracardi to your customers or to showcase anything that is set up Tracardi through this demo. So first of all, when you integrate Tracardi with your website, you would like your customer to see this kind of consent bar or some widget that asks the customer what we can do with the data that we collect on this page. And you can see that the customer can just click agree, and they will agree to everything that we set up in Tracardi as consents. So I've set one consent called marketing. When you go to Tracardi and go to identification consent types, this is where I've set this consent type. You can have different consent types. For example, this one saying that if you agree to marketing, then we would like to send you some marketing information. But you can also set any type of consent. So for example, I don't sharing data. So I would like to share data of my customers with other companies. If somebody agrees to this, we can also save this information, and then some data may be shared with our other customers. I know that not many people would like to consent to this, and I would say this consent is disabled by default. Sorry, here. And I would like to this consent type to be enabled, but default value will be denied. And here are some additional that are not used in Tracardi right now. Notice that while we have consents, we should be able to see this on our customized consent. And here you can see that this one is not ticked, means that by default the customer denies the consent. And this information is automatically sent to the profile. So you can see those are the events that were collected when I was visiting the page. So this is a page view, and this is my profile. When I click on it, you can see that there are consents marked pairing. This is what I agreed. But also notice my system is configured this way that every time I visit a page, the consent bar is shown again, that I'm also able to just revoke everything. And here we go, the consents are gone. Whenever you redisplay the consents, you can ask the customer to, again give you the consents, and this will update the current profile. How it's done that the consent bar is shown, because this is not out of the box configuration. As you know, when I visit the page and I go through different pages of that site, the information is sent to Tracardi, and you can see that with each click I can see this consent bar. Why is it shown? I might want not to show this consent bar. Okay, whenever I click on the page, there's a page view event, and this page view event, when you click here and go on routing, you can see that this page event goes through this process and goes the workflow that says, okay, please show for this event type consent bar. Okay, this is my workflow. This part we'll discuss later, but this is the part that is running. Okay, so whenever there is a page view event, then this is triggered, and I've used consent bar widget, which can be found here, consent bar widget, and I enabled it. This is the new parameter that I've added in the new system. So I want always displayed. And whenever I click I agree, the information about consent is sent to this URL. So because I'm running on my local host, that's why it's my local host. If you run it on your cloud, then this should be your Tracardi API URL. And this is basically it. Whenever you do something like this, the consent bar will be displayed on the page. Now we need to make some logic that will just prevent this consent bar to be shown when I've already granted some consents. In the new system, I've added this switch that will do it automatically. So I said, do not display this consent bar when I've already granted consents. Here we go. The consent bar is not shown because the consents are already granted. And this is basically the whole setup for the consent bar in the new system. But there is also an old setup. Okay, I will delete this one and enable this one. This is the old way we have been setting up consent bar. So when there is an event page view, we first check if there is a certain consent type. I require a marketing consent type to be picked by the customer. So that's, I always need marketing consent. Otherwise, just show the consent bar always. Okay. If current customer has this consent, then we go here, do not show anything. If which means customer did not give me the consent bar again. Okay, and this is another way of doing this. You can also debug this. So this is a nice way to show how to debug this. You can see all the history of my events. Okay, page view. I can click on debug, go on consent bar, and now in the background was loaded my event together with my profile, and you can see how it all went. Just when the event arrived to the system, you can see that this has consents have been triggered, and I already gave all the consents. You can also go and see this. Yes, all the consents are given. So we go with this branch, and the consent bar is not shown. But how we use the consents, this is quite important, because once you've collected the consents, you have to somehow comply to it. It means if somebody is not allowed to send any information to the customer, then you have to somehow just comply to it. And this is the node that we use for compliance inside the workflow. For example, if somebody did not give us a marketing consent, so does not have this consent, let's assume that we are sending an email. So we can check if somebody gave us a marketing consent. If yes, then we can use this node and send email to that customer. If not, we can end the workflow and nothing is going on. So this is how you comply some consents, user consents inside workflow. But we can also comply and use this this condition not only inside the workflow, but we can also condition the triggers. So for example, let's assume that this workflow is designed only to send emails. I will delete this and we'll do something like that. When we have an event order completed, we would like to send an email to the customer. The order completed happens on my demo website, and I will run this workflow. but I don't want to run this workflow. Somebody did not give me the marketing consent. This is the way how you block activities, automation inside Tracardi based on the given. And also, you can use this not only to make some actions, but also to mask some data. Okay, and this is basically it about consents in Tracardi. The last thing I would like to show you that there is a Tracardi UX consent repository where we have the code for the consent bar. And this is basically how all the widgets are built in Tracardi. They are very simple ReactJS projects. And I will not go into details how it's built because there's a documentation for this. But what I would like to mention that when you would like to build your consent widget, you can use this repository and make it look how you would like to be. Okay, it can be a consent bar, it can be a pop. Okay, and this is it. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer them.
No, that's brilliant. Just with the consent widget, I've noticed with the other widgets that you can style them fairly easily. It's not iframe, it's just the React pushed into the DOM. Is that the same with the content widget?
Yes, all the contents are built the same way. Just there is just a script that is inserted into the page, and it reacts. It can be a pop-up. But it can also change the content of the page. So you can do whatever you want. And I've been building simple React applications that just work inside my page. They can be like little apps. They do something and they just send information to Tracardi, and that's it.
And I think that not being an iframe, it's just pushed into the DOM, the code, the React app, but it means that you can just style it. Essentially, you can just use the default widgets, the default consent widget, and you can style it just inline, almost with just some CSS to make it look more the way you want it to look. One of the things that got me when I first started using consents is where to actually find the consents in the UI. Could you just go back to that screen? Because this was a real gotcha. I mean, I just didn't find the consents in the UI very quickly or easily. So on the menu there, I think it's the
identification consent types.
Yeah, and it's a second tab across. I totally missed it. I was scratching my head, had to go to the forum and ask lots of questions. Where do I do those consents? But it's the second tab across on identity.
I think you may be right that would be just better if it was just the first tab. Yes, because this is like a first step, right?
Yeah, no, it's but for anyone looking, that's where it is. Yeah, if you're finding it hard to find, it's just in that spot there.
Yeah, and you're right, and I'm going to change.
Our agenda for today was consent management, Slack group Q&A. So on the Slack group over the week, there's been 3 big topics of discussion. The first one was how to debug, and I know there's been a document put up based on by Risto, based on the observations, the sort of questions that were being asked. So that's now in the documentation. How to use the copy activity to put event properties on the profile, and also a new discussion that we're starting to see on the forum, community forums, how to access reporting endpoints. So they're sort of the 3 discussions that we've been having. We'll share the links at the end for how to get onto the Slack group and join in that conversation. And they're the links there. So the 3 big ones, Tracardi, and I'll share those at the end again, the Tracardi Slack community forum, and also Tracardi on GitHub. The last one that we wanted to cover off today was just any announcements and have a quick chat about next week's topic. Anyone interested in putting together destination plugins? Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, because Tracardi, as I said, is like very open system, and we can add a lot of things to it. And currently, we lacking some destinations. Basically, we have destinations that are that's just the core, just the destination that we can call an API or move some data to the queue. But it would be just perfect if somebody would be interested in putting up some destinations that they are interested in, because I know that I'm interested in multi-destination, and we actually did that kind of destination. Have like a need for some additional systems like I don't know, Mailchimp, HubSpot, whatever system you use. I'm just open to help you start with such destination and show you how to code it. Basically, I also did some manuals, prepared some manuals how to code the destinations, and I think this is just a perfect way to just get acquainted with the code and start contributing, because destinations are very simple to write, and you don't need like big knowledge about the system to start doing it.
I was getting a sense, just having a quick look at it, that there's just a framework there, and you really just got to handle each of the events that you're pushing across to the other, you're integrating with the other system. Is there something that people have been asking for in particular that would be
You
uh,
mean
the
you mean
destination?
in terms of destination?
Yeah. Is there a sort of a request that's been coming up at all? Or
I think the very interesting destination would be HubSpot, because a lot of people are using HubSpot, and that
yep,
would be just a perfect starter, I think.
I've seen HubSpot in the plugins, but that's for an event coming from HubSpot. Is that correct? So there's plugins, resources. There's a HubSpot there, isn't there? I'm pretty sure there is.
Yes, you can use HubSpot in workflows, but the
Yep,
destination is a bit different, right? Because
sure.
in order to send data to HubSpot, you will have to create a workflow and then set it up and set conditions where you send it, where not you send, where not to send it. Okay, then you need to make some decisions. But most of the time, you just need your data that is in Tracardi also in HubSpot, without concerning when it should be sent. Just send it whenever it changes. And this is what destinations does.
Sure. So I guess if you're looking at the HubSpot API and trying to work out mapping the two systems, you've been looking at HubSpot for the put APIs, and what can be pushed into HubSpot. And it'd be the same with any other system
Yes,
that's
if
really
you can,
looking at those.
well, you can use even those plugins. You can look at the code of those plugins, just copy paste it into the destination, just do some tweaking, and it should work.
Sure.
So this is very easy task, and I would like, if somebody wants to contribute with some simple things that are basically there's like guardians how to do it, and the code is actually in the system, that you need to move it to some other place and just play with it, and it should just work.
Actually code that up. I think it'd be a bit of fun. I'm looking forward to have a good look at that.
But I also had in mind, about the next week's topics, because what I
Yep.
noticed that a lot of people jump very quickly into the workflows, just skipping some steps when they integrate the system with their website. And there is a lot of things that you can do without even touching workflows. Okay, so you can, for example, if you configure this integration script that you put on your web page, you can out of the box get the geolocation of your profile. You can get the broader context. You can get the device that people are using. So this is very important to understand how the system works from the beginning, because that will give you a lot of more data and a lot of more insight about the customer, even before you go to workflows.
That'd be really good. I know my journey's sort of been, I do this, I do that, and I do that. And it's really about trying to work it all out. And I know that there's a lot of gaps that I've got. So getting it firsthand from yourself, that'd be a good topic to just step through and and understand really well.
Yeah,
Good.
I think that the best way would be just, for all the people that are starting playing with Tracardi, just to learn how to integrate it, how to make things, to work on your website. This is just a regular JavaScript. So, for example, somebody fills some form field, you actually get the information in Tracardi. I think that would be very useful for the next week's topic. Yeah.
I'll just go back to the links and pop them back up on the screen. So we've got the home of Tracardi, which is tracardi.com, the community forum, which is tracardi on slack.com, and also GitHub. Look, if you're looking for help, get onto Tracardi Slack group. You're going to get a lot of good help there, a lot of support from the community about how to do what you want to do. It's really, everyone's there really very supportive. I've certainly got a lot of help out of it. I'm just grateful for the time that people have put aside for me to make it easy.
And if you also have like issues with getting into the Slack group, you can reach me at Twitter. Just look for Tracardi, you finally find it, and I will just help you to join the group.
We did have a couple of apologies today. We're going to do it again next week, and we'll just keep doing this every week until we get it right. No, seriously. We just keep running the community office hours just as long as we need to, as long as it's helpful for the community. Catch you next week.
Okay, thank you.